Boxing, all brought to you by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. And we are set to go, fight fans, 4 rounds this scheduled in the super featherweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting in the blue corner, wearing purple trunks trimmed in white, he weighed in officially 128 pounds. He enters the ring tonight for the 3rd time as a professional from El Paso, Texas. Here is David Montes. And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing leopard print trunks, he weighed in 127 pounds. In one bout, he has 1 victory, no defeats. He fights out of and represents Los Angeles, California. Here is Tenochtitlan, NAVA. And your referee in charge of the action is Jerry Cantu.
There you go. Gentlemen, you were giving your instructions in the dressing room. I want a good, clean, hard fight, and you will obey my commands at all time. These are good. Good luck to both of you.
Referee Jerry Cantu with the instructions, the tail of the tape. Here you go, Doug.
Man, the glaring statistic, at age 22, Tenochtitlan NAVA is 19 years younger than David Montes. They have the same height and basically the same wingspan.
David Montes at the age of 43 takes on Tino NAVA.
Ready.
And the West Side Boxing crew comes out really strong.
Clean, gentlemen, clean.
And NAVA in the leopard trunks. David Montes in the purple. Tino NAVA started boxing as a teenager there at the West Side Boxing. He was a soccer player at Hamilton High School, but he wasn't a forward. He was over 200 pounds playing defense. Started going to the gym to condition, fell in love with the sport of boxing. Now, as Jose and Nacho Salcedo, the Salcedo brothers who run the West Side Boxing in mid-cities, tell you that NAVA is the one that they have to kick out of the gym, especially as an amateur. He'd have a fight come in the next day. He would spar. He would run. He would just go everywhere as a kid who's now weighing 127 pounds. And he had 1 fight with the distance back in April against Antonio Martinez.
And he showed to have a very entertaining style in that 4-round bout. Very busy fighter, likes to put pressure on his opponent, loves to work combinations, loves to attack the body. What he needs to learn in this fight and subsequent bouts is how to pace himself.
Yeah, and Doug, you mentioned this in the rundown of the tail of the tape. His opponent, David Montes, 43 years old with the record of 0-2. You know, there are actually some commissions, I think, would have reservations about licensing a fighter this old, especially at such a late age, to be 0-2.
David Montes started boxing at the age of 9 in El Paso. They called him Diamante, little D. That's what his trainer said at that time. Said, "You're my little diamond in the rough." Was a good amateur. Said he was working his way towards trying to qualify for the 1992 Olympics, working through that. Had over 50 amateur bouts and was incarcerated at the age of 17. As he said, the homeboys, 22 years in jail.
Yeah, Beto, to put this into perspective, the 1992 Olympics, the gold medalist for the U.S. was a guy by the name of Oscar de la Hoya.
Yeah, talking to him, he said, it's just ironic the way life works out. In jail, he was the guy known as who can train other guys how to box. So he said it was a different level of respect factor there. And because he was living that clean living, we've heard Bernard Hopkins say you live that clean living. But it's not the same level, but still.
You know, guys, when we talk to these fighters at the fighter meetings and we ask them why the long layoff or why the late start, it's usually 2 things. Usually managerial issues, promotional issues, or they're on vacation.
Yeah, that was a long vacation.
Montes was very open about what he's doing. He said he's now working out of the Gracias Prime Boxing in El Paso, helping out the young kids, training some of them, and mentoring. Say, he sees the kid going the wrong way. He's making quick to pull him back in here. I was like, why are you boxing? He said, because it's a dream I had, and I'm trying to do anything as long as I can. He said he doesn't feel 43, and he's in there mixing it up with the youngster in Tino NAVA.
He is holding his own.
10 seconds, stop at the bell.
Final seconds of the opening round. It's scheduled for 4.
Time, there you go.
Well, in the amateurs, it was a lot of punches, less time, but 3 rounds. Now I get an extra round, and with the whole 3 minutes. So it's a big difference. So I have a little more time to work with my opponent. We'll prepare for the utmost. Like, we prepare for the worst of it. We're focusing basically on the basics, short punches with the uppercuts and a lot of straight punches as well.
A straight right to the body of David Montes. And of course, Nava follows up all of his straight power shots. Short hooks and crosses on the inside. We saw a left hook to the body.
Mouthpiece.
There was a 1-2 combination caught in mid-throw.
Getting ready for the second round between Tenoch Nava and David Montes. More of the story of Montes in the purple. He's 43 years old. Here's his schedule. 4 a.m. he's up at the gym. From there, he's a junior at the University of Texas, El Paso. Graphic design major, also communications. He is an illustrator, helping somebody work on a book. Then he goes to the gym, and then he trains himself, and then he helps train other kids. And his mom, Lucia Montes, and along with the Montes family in El Paso are watching him live his dream. He said for a lot of years they couldn't even talk to me. So now I'm trying to do something positive. And Tenoch Nava is in there mixing it up with the older fella.
I tell you what, journeymen have the most interesting human interest stories in all of boxing. They really do. And I'll say this about Montes. He lost the first round handily, but he hung in there. He does have a foundation. There is some form that he has, but I think he's feeling his age right now.
Well, when you're fighting a guy that's 43 years old and you look at that soft-looking midsection, I think if you're Nava, it's not a bad idea to just get right in here inside the pocket, go chest to chest, and just dig as many hooks as possible, which he has done for much of round number 2.
And he's done the wise thing, the younger man that is, by setting the tempo, setting the pace. This is a very uncomfortable pace for somebody who's in his 40s and only has 2 fights under his belt.
And his last time he was out there, Montes knocked out in the first round. Tenochtitlan Nava, yes, he's named after the Aztec. His dad from Durango, mom Sinaloa, Mexico. Of course, you mentioned Sinaloa, Chavez.
Right. Some terrific fighters out of Durango as well.
Yes, sir. Good right hand landed by Nava. And you see those orange shirts, those are the marching skulls out of the Westside Boxing Club. They come strong anytime a Westside fighter is there. And that's the Salcedo brothers, white orange. He said, because we know they like to stand out on Ring TV. Yeah, you're doing that right now. The opening bout of the LA Fight Club. Minutes ago in the second round. It's scheduled for 4. And then you see Montes taking that deep breath. Right hand landed by Nava. Nava sparred with Rafael Gramajo, we're going to see later. Also Nick Arce, who fights Saturday afternoon at the StubHub Center in Carson. You can watch that fight on Ring TV Live.
Boy, Nava is a swarmer. I mean, he really deals in volume. And I would say to the point now where he's kind of smothering some of his power.
And there's a fine line between swarming and smothering, as you just pointed out, and that's going to come with experience. Sometimes, after you've laid the foundation to the body, sometimes you're just better off taking a half step back and letting your arms unfurl. Now, you've done a nice job of setting up hooks to the body. Now, try to come over the top with straight right hands right down the middle.
Born bold.
And Golden Boy Boxing on Ring TV Live is brought to you by Tecate, the official sponsor of Golden Boy Boxing. Tecate, Born Bold. We're in the third round, and the third round is brought to you by the Ring Magazine. Ring Magazine, the Bible of boxing since 1922. Subscribe today. Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher, Steve Kim reunited, and it feels so good. The first Friday of the month at the Belasco Theater, opening bout of the L8 Fight Club, working our way towards Ronnie Rios and Efren Esquivias. Tenochtitlan NAVA, 22 years old, in the leopard trunks. Good right hand landed by him. Taking on 43-year-old David Montes.
Just looking at Nava, a couple right hands he's thrown in the third round. He's going to have to move his feet underneath him a little bit better. Seems to be lunging. See, that's why his right hand is coming up short. A lot of the time, that just means your feet aren't coming underneath you as you move forward.
Right. He needs to push off his back foot with his jab and sort of take a half step forward before he launches that right hand.
And something like that, something that's as basic and as fundamental as the 1-2, a lot of times you just got to get in front of a heavy bag and have that trainer actually hold that heavy bag old school and just actually have you throw 1-1-2 combination after another.
And that way you get a feel of your own weight distribution.
And range.
And range, you're correct.
You mentioned that heavy bag, Steve. I know you've been a real big proponent on it on your Twitter about the old school fighters, just heavy bag, work it, work it. How can that help a young kid like Nava?
Well, first of all, the heavy bag was used for 100 years before the advent of mitts and these 89 punch combinations.
And don't forget the noodles.
The noodles, I love the noodles. If you're ever going to drown in a ring, that's a great drill to do. But I think the heavy bag is just very the greatest fighters in the world use it. Like Ben Lira, old school trainer. If you want to keep your stamina and build up your shoulder strength, there is no better tool in boxing than the heavy bag.
Montes with his hands down. Fatigue starting to look like it's taking a factor on the 43-year-old. As you said, Steve, in the first round, the swarm of Nava.
Yeah. You know, Doug, looking at a kid like Nava, obviously he has a lot of want to, but I think this is definitely a kid that you say to yourself, you know, we're not going to put him on the fast track. This is a kid you literally have to put, I would say, at least 25, 30 fights and assess at that point what is his real upside.
Yeah, I agree. He's not one of these guys who found boxing when he was 6 or 7 years old. He didn't have over 100 or 200 amateur bouts. He wasn't on the national level, let alone the international amateur level. He's he was a regional amateur, had like 30 amateur bouts, and so he's learning as a professional. He's still learning. He's still very raw, but he has certain things you can't teach. I mean, he's definitely seems to have a fighter's instinct. He's naturally aggressive. And he does have very good stamina.
Anytime you can lose 75 pounds.
Doesn't that tell you something? Yeah.
That's dedication.
Guys, he's half the person he used to be.
Literally. Final seconds of the third round. It's scheduled for 4 in the super featherweight division. Nava and Montes in Los Angeles.
Tell me a story that I can read. Tell me a story that I can read.
Golden Boy Boxing on Ring TV Live is brought to you by Mason's Boxing Equipment. Tailor-made Italian boxing equipment since 1978. Go to masonsboxing.com for more. We're in the 4th and final round at the Belasco Theater in downtown Los Angeles. Thanks for watching us on ringtvlive.com. Tenochtitlan NAVA. He went the distance in his last fight. That was April 1st when he made his pro debut against David Montes. And you're starting to hear that T-Noke chant from the Marching Skulls of the West Side Boxing.
That's how you shorten his name.
Yeah, T-Noke.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to say Tenochtitlan, Doug. I know you minored.
I want to show off, though.
Oh, you can
I'm saying it right now.
Hey, I'll take you to a Chicano Studies class, and you will show off, Dougie. And make sure you guys check out Doug's mailbag on Fridays and Mondays this weekend. Woo! Let's just say there was some schooling going on.
He is the flamethrower. He's Goose Gossage circa 1978.
I mean, Doug was piercing people's noses with those.
One thing I noticed about Nava is look at his balance point. He puts a lot of weight on that front leg. That's why when he throws that right hand, he almost topples over himself. I would suggest he puts a little bit more weight on that backside as he comes forward, and he's going to throw that right cross after the jab.
Yeah, he needs to push off with the back foot and also step with it, bring it right behind the front foot. And these are things he will learn. I like what I'm seeing right now. As I recall in his pro debut, he was visibly gassed by this point of the 4th round, and he's tired. You can tell he's tired right now, and he deserves to be. I mean, he should be tired with the punch output he's given us, but he seems to be handling it better.
T-Dog, as they call him inside the gym. He's also a fighter, just like mentioned it, will not leave. The Salcedo brothers do a good job there. The Westside Boxing, young fighters, good stable. You'll see a lot of them also at the amateur level, going down to the Desert Showdown or the different tournaments here in Southern California. Gensley's been around a couple years, but they're doing great work in that community also. At Westside Boxing, you can buy a ticket for the fight, whether it's StubHub or LA Fight Club. You get a shirt out of it. I mean,
yeah, and they have the first couple of rows of the Belasco Theater looking like the side of the 60 freeway with Caltrans.
Well, you're Orange Bowl, right? Come on, Steve set you up for that. Oh, it's Steve's first.
Well, I want to stay local. I'm a California guy still.
Good little scrap between Nava and Montes. Montes with big heart, 43-year-old miner out of El Paso.
Well, Beto, the one thing he's gotten, if not, I wouldn't say it's the most harrowing experience, but I do think Nava's gotten a lot of work out of this. And I think rounds like this are going to be very significant for his development. We're still talking about a young man that started boxing relatively late. And I don't think he's going to score a lot of early knockouts. I don't think he has the natural eraser in either hand. He's going to have to be a grinder. But rounds like this, again, very, very valuable experience.
What the experience that Montes gets. 43 years old, been out of society for 22 years.
Right.
And he's in here living his dream. Good for him.
Yep.
Coming out here and puts on a show.
It's a moral victory just to go the distance.
They go the distance. Nava and Montes, 4 rounds in Los Angeles. Their first bout of the night in the books. Let's look at some highlights from our crack staff putting it together in the back.
See the work rate of Tenochtitlan. 1-2s from the outside. He gets in close, bangs the body with both hands, particularly his left hook, Steve.
Yeah, and Doug, one thing that's very evident, Nava, from an offensive standpoint, seems much more comfortable from being in close chest to chest, especially with that left hook, because, again, most of that weight is on his front foot. So as a right-handed fighter, when you're front side heavy, that hook's much easier to land or throw with leverage in the right hand. I think that's going to be a point of emphasis moving forward at the Westside Boxing Club, spacing distance and being better with that right hand, moving his feet right underneath him.
We went 4 rounds. The youngster against the 43-year-old. How'd you see it? I see Joe Martinez will tell us.
After 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 have it 40-36 for your winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Tenochtitlan NAVA.
He's now 2-0, Doug.
I think Steve and I are in complete agreement with the official judges. 40-36, 4 rounds to 0 for the young man. And it's good for him to have 8 rounds under his belt as a pro so far.
Doug, I thought it was a very easy fight to score. And I think a kid like this, again, we mentioned this earlier, he's not going to be on the fast track. This kid cannot be microwaved. I remember seeing guys like Mayweather and De La Hoya. You knew based on their Olympic background, these kids are on the fast lane.
Right.
A guy like Nava, this is why a series like this was created, because kids, most of the time, are not going to be blue chip prospects.
Right.
They have to be developed slowly but surely over the years.
Yeah, whereas an amateur star and a great natural talent like a Mayweather or De La Hoya, they're ready to fight for a major world title 2 years after turning pro. guy like Nava, maybe 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 8 years it takes. You know.
Look at a guy like Orlando Salido. Well, he was a 500 fighter for at least, what, 10, 12 years?
Yes.
And I think he's really developed into an accomplished pro. Different circumstances. He turned pro at age 15, but he literally, as that phrase said, learned on the job.
And I think we're going to get T-Dog. Tenoch Nava's coming over, I think. Oh, there he is. He's walking over. But when you get the victory, you got to take pictures. And that's exactly what he was doing right now. And I'm going to say it. Tenochtitlan Nava. Tenoch, T-Dog. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You can breathe, bro. Breathe a little bit. I know it's hard. As soon as you get out of the ring, you're still excited. How did you feel right now?
I'm not going to lie. I got tired in this fight than in my pro debut.
More so?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
mastered. Yeah, you hit it well.
Yeah, well, you know, training with Rafael Gramajo, another inside fighter. Yeah, you get you improve a little working with someone like that.
Well, Steve Kim and I noted you're very comfortable on the inside. You like to swarm your opponent. You have a high volume attack. Are you going to be working on more of your outside game, boxing from the outside as well to sort of complement your natural style?
Well, I am looking forward to it, and this is just the beginning of my career, and I would like to work on it and my next training camp, and we'll get to it.
We're going to be looking for that your next fight, so we'll grill you if you don't do it. Come and talk to us.
Let's look at some of the highlights. You have 2 pro fights, and they both go the distance. Now, you hear this guy, he's 43 years old, but he was a tough one, huh?
Yeah, he was a tough guy. I believe he was bigger than me this night, and letting him lean on me got me tired. Yeah.
He looks heavier. You could feel that.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Tenoch Nava out of the West Side Boxing. I know you have a lot of people around you. Durango, Sinaloa. There's a camera right there, man. The little one, not him. Right here, the little one, the GoPro. That one. Send your shout-outs, bro.
Saludos de mi familia en Durango, México y Sinaloa. Te amo.
Tenochtitlan Nava.